One of the biggest discussions that continually takes place within the LEGO community is how everybody should sort your parts. And today, we're going to address that. My personal part collection has been an absolute disaster for a while, quite simply because I've run out of space in the bins that I have. So I've spent a lot of time here over the last few weeks sorting my parts and also simply building a new cabinet in order to give me more space to stay more organized. Now, I don't want to tell you what way I think is right or wrong, but I personally have found that it is much easier to sort all your parts by the actual part, where a lot of people like to sort by color. But I can tell you that sorting by part or color is kind of a right brain, left brain type of thinking. Here's what I mean by that. The left side of your brain is the side that is thought to relate mostly to color, and it's also the side that is considered to be very methodical, mathematical almost, if you will. Whereas the right side of your brain is considered to be more creative, and it also does a lot of the relation to shapes. So using that logic, depending on what type of thinker you are, will depend on what matter of sorting works best for you. The ultimate best way to do it is the way that I am now doing it, which is by part and color. And quite simply, the reason for that is because anytime you need a certain part, you can just grab that part in that specific color and get to building. And that is now how all of my organization is done. It's by part and color. Prior to that, though, I strictly sorted by part, as you can see here. If I wanted a 1x2 plate, I just opened the drawer, grabbed a piece, dug through it, and found it. Or maybe I would want a 1x1 round plate. So again, I would just reach into the bin and sort for that particular color. If you're limited on space, I highly recommend sticking with just parts or just by color. Again, whichever way works for you. But for me, it was by part. And because I know not everybody has the insane amount of space that I have available to me because I have my Lego barn, let me give you some pointers on how you can save a little money to do just that. What you can do is you can buy these small 6-quart Sterilite bins. They are extremely cheap. When I was buying them, I'd get them anywhere from 95 cents to $1.05. Currently, they're anywhere from $1 to $1.50, depending on where you go. You can typically find these on sale at Walmart, Meijer, and Big Lots, although I will tell you the cheapest place I've ever found them is usually Big Lots. But anyway, you get these containers, you can take them, you can stack them, you can do anything you want with them in a way to hide them. And if you want to get more organized with them, you can put similar parts and then separate them by color using Ziploc baggies inside of each of the containers. The biggest problem you're going to find if you're trying to get organized to this method, any of these methods, it's very time-consuming to do this. It's very much worth the effort, though, let me say, because now that I am this organized, when I do get a chance to build, it's awesome because I know exactly where all of my parts are. I can just go right to the bin, and I know immediately by having everything separated by part and by color exactly how many of each part I have. So if I'm going to a drawer and I want to see 4 pieces, if I grab the bag and there's only 2 pieces in that bag, I know I'm going to have to come up with a different method, or I'm going to have to order some pieces in order to complete doing that mock. And being that I keep referencing mocks, it's something else I do want to point out. This method of the madness is probably more beneficial to people that are doing mocks, mock builders. And I say that because with mock builders, you never know what part you're going to need until you need it while you're building. So if you are one of those people that's not necessarily into mocks, but you're more of a set collector, I would highly recommend getting some of the larger Sterilite containers like these here. And I say that because I do collect sets as well. And for me, when I'm trying to keep my sets separated, what I like to do is I like to get the large Ziploc baggies. I will try and put a set as complete as I can as far as being assembled into the bag. But if it won't go in fully assembled, what I typically do is I will break it apart a little bit and then stuff it into the bag. But if you buy these larger Ziploc bags, typically pretty much any build you get, except for these new massive buildings that Lego's doing now with the 10,000 plus pieces, most of your older sets and even a lot of your other newer sets, especially like Friends, City Theme, and sets of that nature, will easily fit into any Ziploc baggie. Not to say that the method that I mentioned earlier in this video won't work if you are a set collector as well. It's just in the aspect of, for the simplicity of reassembling said sets, I do recommend doing it in the manner I just showed, where each set is individually wrapped in a Ziploc bag. And if you don't mind if the instructions get a little wrinkled, you can even do like I do here, which is a lot of my really old vintage sets. Again, I don't mind if they get wrinkled. I will physically put the instruction booklet in the baggie with the set. So that way I don't have to worry about trying to find the instructions as well. For me personally, I have a couple file cabinets that is full of nothing but instructions. And I have to say, this is by far the best way to keep your instructions. So that way they are not only easy to find, but they're also not getting wrinkled. But the way that I have these current sets with the baggie and the instructions all together, it's because most of these sets I already had organized into bins long before I ever had my Lego barn or even the file cabinets for organization. I still personally am not 100% organized the way I want, but as you can see here, what I like to do is with my bricks, I try to keep them all together as much as possible. But on other parts, like this for example, these are wedged plates. And I try to keep my wedge plates organized basically by size. So here you have 1x6s and 1x8s, then here you have round wedge plates, and then I even have the wedge bricks separated accordingly. But it's all wedge bricks in one bin. With bricks, I generally do 1x1 up to 1x4, and then anything above a 1x4, I will put in my larger trays down on the floor because they take up a massive amount of space. The true pain with sorting, though, comes when you start getting down to all those really tiny, like hinged plates and taps and pipes and pieces of that nature. And I'm just trying to show you a few right here. But that's when I like to start using these very small Sterilite trays, and you can get these in groups of 3 or 5 at a time. And again, they sell these just like the other Sterilite bins I showed earlier at Walmart, Meijer, and Big Lots, and typically you're going to find them cheaper at Big Lots. Anyway, that's all for this video though, guys. I hope this was helpful and informative, and we'll see you next time on Bevins Bricks.